Hi, and welcome to another Gadget Guy product tour video. Today's focus, we'll be looking at Motorola's new Edge smartphone. Okay, so some of our slightly older viewers might remember the Motorola Razr. This was an amazingly thin and stylish phone, and actually a device that I really loved. Back then, Moto was really pushing the boundaries of design and style and came out with some game-changing products. It's good to see that those days are back with the revival of the Razr earlier this year, only this time the flip phone shape was kept, but it now has a flexible folding screen inside. Now the Edge continues this tradition and is packed with cutting-edge technology and design features that set it apart from other mid-premium phones. So you can pick one up right now for $9.99. So let's take a look at what it has to offer. Well, this is Motorola's very first 5G phone in Australia. And as 5G is steadily being rolled out across the country, I'd recommend that 5G be included in any new smartphone that you plan to buy. So even if you're not in a coverage area, at least the Edge is future-proof to deliver ultra-fast download speeds so you won't have to miss out. Also, it's really great to see that the Edge is built around the Qualcomm Snapdragon 765 mobile platform. So this is a collection of circuitry and a really good quality option with plenty of processing power for all the things you'll throw at it. So this could be games, videos, browsing, etc., while still operating efficiently to conserve battery life. And for the more technically minded, there's 6 gigs of RAM, which is great for multitasking, and 128 gigs of storage, which you can expand up to 1 terabyte with external memory cards. So let's talk about that screen. This is a Moto signature feature, and it lends the phone its namesake along with a really distinctive design. It's called the Endless Edge display, and this is Moto's biggest screen ever at 6.7 inches. And it's also quite tall with a 19.5:9 aspect ratio and has rounded edges that wrap 90 degrees around the sides of the device. Also, it's an OLED type display, and apart from being flexible, this tech produces incredible contrast, really rich colors, and it has outstanding viewing angles. It's just gorgeous to look at and great to see in a phone at this price. There's also HDR10 high dynamic range support, meaning the screen can create a more cinematic look for your movies and videos. Right, so what else could these curved edges do apart from looking good? Well, they first allow the screen to take up nearly all of the front of the phone. So this has an incredible 96% screen to body ratio. So with the Edge, there are no ugly bezels to get in the way and just a little tiny punch hole for the selfie camera. Next, the edges can be assigned custom gestures and shortcut buttons to launch your most commonly used apps. Now, there's a handy Edge lighting feature too that can be used to visually indicate alarms, notifications, or calls. And then there's a really cool Edge gaming feature that can simulate dedicated shoulder trigger buttons to, well, give you the edge when you're playing your games. Let's talk about that camera now, because the Edge is a real standout, especially for a mid-premium phone. So first, it has a huge 64 megapixel sensor, so this is unusual, along with 3 different lenses, including ultra-wide, telephoto, and a standard lens. So the sensor captures an impressive amount of detail, but it also provides super fast phase detection autofocus. So this helps you lock right in on your subject. The f1.8 aperture on the standard lens makes for great daylight shots, plus there's a night mode for darker environments. So there's the 8 megapixel telephoto lens, and this stretches out from a 2x optical to a 10x digital zoom. And the 16 megapixel ultra wide has a 117 field of view, which is great for expansive landscapes or even indoor group shots where you need to cram a few people together. Or you can get up really close with a macro mode, because there's one of those too. So my favorite effect is the bokeh, or that soft focus background in the portrait shots. And this is made possible because there's a time of flight sensor which gauges the depth between the phone and the subject. And this is great in, again, a mid-premium phone. So the Edge can also record Ultra HD videos at 30 frames per second. And you can flip over the phone, and then there's a 25 megapixel selfie camera, pretty impressive, with a nearly 70-degree field of view, which is enough for you and a few friends too. So another distinctive point of difference with the Edge is how it delivers audio. So in general, I'd say speaker quality in mobiles is often pretty limited. And with Moto this time, they wanted to address that. So they collaborated with Waves Audio, and they've adapted the technology used by sound engineers and audio professionals. So this includes 2 large, high-fidelity stereo speakers in the phone, and there's specific audio tuning and sound profiles for the different ways that you listen on your device. So this could be using headphones or just the loudspeakers, and there are even profiles for when you're holding your phone in landscape and portrait orientations because the speaker's in a different position relative to your ears. I think it's really clever. The net result of all of this is the ability to experience full dynamic sound at higher volumes along with audio that's tuned for the content that you're watching or listening to. So it's really great to see that there's a massive 4,500 milliamp battery included in the mix as well. There's a lot going on and you want battery power to keep it going. Now this is the biggest you'll find in its class, and it's all the more important with a phone that has a large screen. So when we were testing it, we experienced 2 days worth of charge, and if you want to read the full review on GadgetGuy, just check the link in the description. There's a 15-watt turbo power charger, and this can give you a few hours of power with just a couple of minutes of charging, and it takes, say, 2.5 hours to go from 0 to a full battery. So some of the other features that will no doubt come in handy with the Edge include dual SIM support. Then there's also a 3.5mm headphone jack, which I love to plug in my old school headphones. And there's a near stock Android 10 operating system, so you don't have to worry about all the extra layers and bells and whistles that sort of become unnecessary with some Android phones. So when it all comes down to it, look, there are a lot of decent choices in this sort of sub 1,000 mid-premium mobile space. So what do you choose? Look, I think what really sets the Motorola Edge apart is not just its premium components, and this is a really important part, but it's the signature design elements. So this is things like the curved edge OLED display, a best-in-class camera system, a massive, long-lasting battery, and audio hardware that's tuned for a bigger, fuller sound. Look, all in all, the Edge has, I think, captured that Moto magic from the early days, and it's a really exciting sign of what we can expect in this brand coming up. So keep an eye on it.